Have you ever wondered how some people continue to move forward when other people shrink back? In today's session, I'm going to show you how you can always be advancing, how you can be ready for any opportunity that meets you. We're talking about the opportunity formula. Now, one of the fun, guilty pleasures that I get to experience with my sons and my daughters, really my family, we love Squid Game. And we've watched season one. We just now binged season two. It's great. It's fun. Not for the faint of heart. Really, the premise is there are these games that people play, children's games. And if you fail at the children's game, you get shot in the head. You get killed. So I know it's brutal, but I was thinking, as they go through each of the games, right? They start out with red light, green light. And then they go into this honeycomb, carve your shape out of the honeycomb. And then they go into tug of war and marbles. Of course, in season two, my children have become addicted to Kongji, I think is the name of the game. I know. Listen, it's a Netflix series. It has nothing to do with real life. But if you look at the allegory of it, you have people who are playing games. And if you win a game, you get to live. You pass on to the next level. But then the game shifts. It changes. And all of the skills that you brought from the previous game, it doesn't matter. We, right now, are constantly in a shifting economic climate. And so what worked yesterday might not work tomorrow. The game you won at yesterday might not be the same one as today. And so opportunity is always changing. And if you want to survive, you've got to do two things. You got to adapt and learn the new skills quickly and also not lose your nerve. So just a fun part about that. But as you go into whatever it is that you're doing right now as a professional, it is essential that not only are you able to shift in the game, but you have to show up ready for any opportunity. Now, I'm going to talk to you about a formula that's going to help you to connect your skills, your gifts, your talents to the opportunity of today so that you will get paid, you will be happy, you will find success the simplest way possible. We're going to talk about that today. But before we do, I got a little story for you. So hold on. In the year 1962, there is a famous occurrence that happened where a man by the name of Dick Rowe, who was one of the producers at Decca Records, saw a band of scraggly-haired people who had an amazing sound to them, but he decided not to sign them. Of course, what we're talking about is the Beatles. Dick Rowe, essentially what happened in this story is Dick Rowe and his assistant were watching two bands. Two bands were auditioning to have their future decided by Decca Records. And back then, if you wanted to get out in front of the masses, there were very few ways of doing it. Decca Records was a recording studio that was going to work with and help produce and create a career for one lucky band. And so they had two that came by on that day. One was the scruffy-haired Beatles with their guitar sounds and all of the things that would end up turning into Beatlemania later on. The other one was a group called Brian Poole and the Tremolos. Now, most people focus in on what Dick Rowe missed. He missed the opportunity to sign the biggest band in the world. And some people say that he said, well, I'm not going to sign them because guitar music is a fad. It's going out of style. I don't think that happened because Brian Poole and the Tremolos were also a guitar band, but there's actually a few other reasons that they got signed. They were ready for the opportunity. They would end up singing songs like Twist and Shout, Do You Love Me? So these guys aren't slouches. But one thing that they did have is they had preparation. You see, when the Beatles showed up all scraggly and hung over and not feeling great, didn't look good, they didn't sound good, they didn't have their own amps, they didn't have anything. They just showed up and they played. Brian Poole and the Tremolos came dressed to the nines, looking good, hair done, teeth brushed, right? They looked good. They also sounded great. So they brought their own amps, they brought their own equipment, their own guitars, all of those things. And so here they are. When it was time for them to perform, they actually outshined the Beatles. And the reason why Dick Rowe and Decca Records signed them and not the Beatles is because they were told to only pick one. They couldn't sign two bands, so they picked one. And Brian Poole and the Tremolos looked better, they sounded better, they were more local, and they felt like this is a group that we can invest ourselves in deeply. And so that's how they were able to take the opportunity that was in front of them. They showed up with their best in the moment, even though they were facing really like they shouldn't have won. They should not have been able to do what they did. And do you know that if you will embrace what we're going to go through right now, the formula, you're going to win in scenarios where you shouldn't. You're going to beat other people that are better than you. And that's what we're talking about. It's not about the people, it's about you. And if you can embrace what it is that you're bringing and who it is that you're bringing to, you're going to find a path that's a little bit different. So let's go ahead and look real quick at and remember some of the things that we have here. And in the School of Professional Design, we like to look at the different personality types. That's where we start, because who you are versus who you're being sometimes are two different people. We like to find the most natural you. And so are you more of the people person, the connector? Are you more the person that's always creating new things and inventing and painting and seeing into the future? Are you more the person that's pragmatic and problem solving and making a path and creating a structure? Or are you the kind of person that is finding new ways, seeing new opportunities, forging new relationships? Which of those are you? Well, depending on what that is, each of us has a slightly different lens as to what we're going to be looking at. But the one thing that we can do is that we can show up completely authentic in every single moment. And so recently I was talking to someone that was saying, hey, listen, we've been up against it, Donnie. The opportunity hasn't been showing itself. We've gone from problem to problem to problem in our industry. What do we do when things seem to be going bad and they don't seem to get any better? Well, that is the opportunity formula that we're talking about. And really has to do with the way that you show up. Let's just get into what I would call your signature work. Your signature work is when you show up as yourself in the place. So you show up by your design to help the people you were designed for, specifically doing the work that you were made to do. Well, Donnie, what is that? Well, here's I'm going to give you 3 steps and then a fourth. Now, the fourth is a thing that anyone can do anywhere. These first 3 are going to be very specific to you. Okay. So I'm going to call it, it's your gospel, it's your message, and it's your way. Your gospel, your message, and your way. This sounds like a religion. Well, maybe if you viewed your work a little bit like you viewed religion, it might be good for you. It definitely would be good for us. How do we do that? So the good news, I was working with a client yesterday, and we realized that the good news that she brings to people is what she would call the aloha life. The aloha life is a term that means it's connected to people, to community, and to nature. Aloha life. That's good news. And the good news is this exists. Who is this good news to? To people who are probably busy. They are tired. They are, right? They're tired of being in the grind. So her good news is, hey, aloha life. Her message is, listen, you don't have to live that way. If you buy this house, if you live in this place, you can participate in this beautiful lifestyle. You can change your life into this lifestyle by living here in this area. So The good news is the aloha life. The message is the lifestyle. The third element is the way. Now, the way is going to be. I'm going to go through this again in a moment, so I'll give it to you my way, because really it's more about your this. All of this matters more for you than it does this. I'm giving you examples so that you can kind of see which way this goes. But the way is your formula. It's the format. It's the way you do it. It's your pace. It's your attitude. And so this particular person's way was events and people and connection. Her format is loose and more conversational. Her pace is slow and relaxed. And that's her attitude. All of these things get pervade in that way. Now, if I'm gonna put this on for myself so that you'll see this, and I'm gonna ask you to do this for you. Find your good news, find your message, and find your way. And if you can do those things, what you're gonna do is you'll have your signature work. Signature work is work that if you were to look at it 20 years from now, people would say, oh, definitely that's what Donnie would have done. That's definitely Donnie's work. That's definitely his work. That's definitely her work. It's your signature work. Signature work doesn't change. Signature work gets more and more refined as time goes on. So my good news, I would say the good news I'm a purveyor of, is you be you, that you are gifted and called of God and made to succeed. That's my good news. That's if people feel like they can't, that's my good news to those people. My message is the gifts of God will lead you to your success. So the gift and the call of God create simplified success, create the easy work. That's my message. My way has to do with teaching, has to do with YouTube, has to do with being in front of people. Like that's my way. It has to do with family. But those are some of my ways. So what are yours? What are yours? Signature work looks like this. It looks like when people look at what you have done, they can say, "Oh my gosh, definitely the work of this guy." So this here is it's been hotly debated as to whether or not Salvador Mundi is real or not, meaning authentically created by the master Leonardo da Vinci. They know that it came from the same area. Someone found this back in the not too long ago, and a claim started to surface in the mid 2000s that that this was indeed the work of the master. And they would say, look at the light, and look at the proportions, and look at the colors, and you can see the textures of the paint, and look at the ringlets in the hair, and all of those things. And it was enough for people to say, you know what? No one else would do it that way. And that was enough for Saudi Arabia's crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman, to pay $453 million for that. There is value in uniqueness and in originality. I love the story of Milton Hershey, who left what his father was doing to develop the perfect recipe for chocolate that could be transported and really there was chocolate that was accessible to all economic statuses. And it's really a neat story, but it happened over time. First, he went to a confectionery where he learned the ingredients to some candy. Well, he started a business and that didn't work out. Then he went into something else. And then eventually he started working for another confectionery. And there he learned a recipe for the perfect caramel. So he started another candy shop, and that one went out of business. Then he opened another candy shop selling only caramels with this perfect recipe. Once he succeeded, it wasn't until he found the chocolate making machine by the Germans that he decided that he could mix his formula with this machine to create chocolate for all. And he did. But it was in stages. It didn't happen overnight. Your success, my success, happens in stages when we apply signature work. So, what's your good news? What's your message? What's your way? Now, there's two more elements that I want to talk to you about. And if you do this, If you don't know your signature elements, if you don't know those 3 signature elements, these will reveal those to you. And this is what I would say. It's love and investment. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, showing up as yourself. So I've talked to people who are doing Uber at nighttime, or I've talked to, like, some people have taken on jobs that didn't feel like a high point in their professional career. The ones who are able to give themselves completely to the moment were the ones who were able to learn its lesson. And that lesson was what applied to the next stage and the next phase of their life. And so I guess the 2 parts of the mixture that I would say here is love and investment. Love, no matter what you're doing, find a way to love the people you're serving. If you don't, go find something different. Connect with them, be with them, look at the moment. Like, love demands that you be in the moment. And the moment, each moment, is bringing you something that you need. Investment means you're giving. Investment is effort over time. Investment is effort at the right time. It's you taking your gifts, and that could be time, it could be money, it could be any of the things, and it's you putting those things towards what you want at the appropriate time. Timing matters, if you don't believe me. Laszlo Hajnik spent 10,000 Bitcoin on 2 Papa John's pizzas. 10,000 Bitcoin at its peak will be worth over $400 million. That's some expensive pizza. You can invest $1,000 in Apple today, and I'm sure it will increase. Or you can invest $1,000 in Apple in 1983, and it creates a different result. So timing matters. The timing you have is today. Here's my challenge to you. Find what you desire. You might find what you don't desire and then choose its opposite. That's fine too. Find what you desire and then apply this final principle. This final principle over time will cause you to not only look back at what you did with pride, but also to continually sow so that you will reap a harvest. This makes you unstoppable in any moment of opportunity. Signature work, you find it. It's super important. You need to find it. That's what we do in School of Professional Design. So if you're looking for a way to find that, go sign up for School of Professional Design. We want you there. But the final thing is, I would say, is investment. In the Bible, it talks about a woman who goes to the treasury. And while everyone else gave, she actually gave from the depths of what she had. She gave her final 2 of these things. These are leptons. These are Roman coins. This is the smallest denomination of money that they had. She gave her final 2 pennies, basically. She gave her final 2 towards what? Towards what she loved, towards what she cared about. Whatever it is that you're doing right now, when you make a decision for something and you decide this is where I'm going, you're going to immediately have opposition that says, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Because why? Because I don't have the time, I don't have the money, or I don't have the energy. Somewhere your brain is going to convince you you don't have enough. Don't let the big things stop you from the little things. And don't let the little things stop you from the big. And the little thing is right here. It's what you have. So this is a lepton right here. So it's what is it that you have that you can apply towards where you're going. Don't overlook the small. Attitude matters. Continually making an offering in the direction that you're trying to go. That's called effort. Effort is always rewarded. Sometimes today, sometimes tomorrow, but always eventually. Investing your effort, investing your gifts, investing your mind, your heart, your connection, investing yourself in the moment you're in, that, my friend, is the way to meet any opportunity the way that God made you. So find a way to create what you want from what you have. Look at the things you have before you look out. Look in before you look out. Look at what you have before you think about what you don't have. My friend, you have an abundance all around you. Find a way to activate it. Find a way to use it as an investment right now, and it will create the opportunity for tomorrow.